Thank you for joining us on the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm Kimani. Coming up, over $750,000 signed for the lighting of 5 playing fields across the island. And German students conduct climate change adaptation project in the Kalinago Territory. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after this.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. Got it? Taking care of us can be so easy.
Take good care of the children.
Thanks for staying with us. The Ministry of Trade is continuing its holistic approach towards marketing quality produce from Dominica. In a recent interview, the Honorable Minister for Trade, Ian Douglas, discussed how his ministry continues to liaise with the Ministry of Agriculture, the Dominica Export-Import Agency, the Bureau of Standards, and other important stakeholders to continue boosting trade in Dominica.
We are also equipping the labs at the Bureau of Standards so that the Bureau can conduct the various tests needed to ensure that the produce that is produced from the farmers meets the standard to be exported, because you know, I mean, Martinique and Guadeloupe, they're close to us, yes, but they are part of Europe and they have European standards to meet. So our produce must meet those standards before they can be exported to those markets. So the Bureau of Standards is helping and working together with Dexia. So it's a holistic approach. We have almost like across the board kind of collaboration between the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Trade to ensure that we can boost production on the farm end, on the agricultural end, but at the end of the day we can get those produce to the various markets that exist out there, and in fact the markets exist.
Plans are also underway to secure a vessel to export Dominica's agricultural produce. The Honorable Trade Minister says a committee has been set up to decide the best way forward.
The government has expressed the intention, one, to get a boat to be able to export the produce, or to work with existing boat owners to upgrade their boats to put into those boats cold storage facilities either in their hatch, or to get 20-foot containers, reefer containers on deck, which have the capability of keeping the fresh produce chilled in a condition that will get it into the foreign markets for export and for sale.
Dominica stands to benefit from a research project conducted by 11 third-year bachelor students from the Faculty of Spatial Planning of the Technical University of Dortmund, Germany. The research project looked at the impacts of climate change and climate change adaptation on vulnerable islands like Dominica. The group's primary focus was on climate change adaptation in the Kalinago Territory. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Planning, Gloria Joseph, spoke of some of the group's work while on island.
Some of the activities the students undertook during their visits involved meeting with representatives of the Physical Planning Division. That was a kick-off meeting to set the tone for their research project. They also were involved in meeting with the Office of Disaster Management, and we wish to thank the Office of Disaster Management for accommodating the students in their exercise. They also met with representatives of concerned sector planning and village councils, representatives of NGOs such as the Red Cross Society. They visited shelters in different local communities and looked at the updated shelter list of 2015 in terms of its adequacy to meet disaster readiness and preparedness. They had visits planned to various areas that were prone to landslide, sea surging, and flooding in different parts of the island.
They also visited 9 communities declared as disaster areas following Tropical Storm Erica. The group is led by researcher, lecturer at the Technical University of Dortmund, Germany, Dr. Johannes Lockenkotter.
Adapting to climate change is an increasingly important policy issue as we head further into the 21st century. This is just the beginning of climate change effects being felt strongly on the ground and by everybody living here in the Caribbean. Adapting to climate change, of course, has many aspects. Disaster preparedness is one of them. And this not only includes provision of and management of disaster shelters and having national disaster plans, but it translates to many other policy areas and also is relevant for physical development planning, and that's why we're attached to the planning division.
Dr. Lockencotter, in highlighting some of the group's findings, says proper disaster management and preparedness will benefit the overall development of Dominica.
We heard time and again that there may be a need for streamlining responsibilities and procedures in order for disaster management to be more forceful and to be more flexible. Furthermore, we noted that the international donor community has shown and is showing a broad-based commitment to supporting Dominica through funding and technical expertise, not just for the recovery after a tropical storm like Erica, but really for long-term strengthening of disaster preparedness and response.
He commended the government of Dominica for considering climate change in its policies.
We were really impressed by and commend the government of Dominica for its ongoing activities to really truly integrate climate change issues into its various policy documents, most notably the National Land Use Policy and the National Physical Development Plan, whose preparation is being led by Mrs. Edwards and Mr. Roll. Of course, such mainstreaming is very important, and really mainstreaming these issues into policies and plans is crucial.
It is anticipated that the group's findings can contribute to Dominica's National Physical Development Plan. The group will be in Dominica until March 17th. The Honorable Minister for Social Services, Family and Gender Affairs, Catherine Daniel, says the current administration is committed to looking out for the welfare of the island's women and girls. Honorable Daniel made the remark in her address marking International Women's Day.
While celebrating the women who have fought across time and space against all forms of discrimination, exclusion, marginalization, violence, and lack of equal opportunities, we are also shedding light on the imbalances that perpetuate inequalities for women. It is simply a matter of grounding our rights in social realities. As Dominica continues to grapple with global challenges, government will do its best to ensure that policies are supportive of the progress of women and girls.
In March 2015, the government of Dominica and Solaris Energy conducted an assessment of 24 playing fields across the island, focusing on assessing the lighting fixtures of the fields and discussing the possible use of solar lights. Friday morning saw the realization of these plans as the Dominica National Lotteries Commission signed over $750,000 to the Solaris Energy Company for the lighting of 5 playing fields in Dominica. In her address, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Constituency Empowerment, Mandra Fagan, noted that this initiative is in keeping with government's stance on the use of renewable energy.
As indicated in the 2015 budget address of the Honorable Prime Minister, this project is in keeping with government's policy to encourage the use of renewable energy, and therefore all 5 playing fields will be fully solar powered.
The fields to be illuminated in this first instance include the Jolly John, Vacas, Geneva, La Plaine and Thibault playing fields. The lights used will be high-intensity sports LED lights, which will be outfitted with battery storage and solar panels and will carry 200-watt lights, 250-watt solar panels and 200 AH 12-volt batteries fully attached to steel galvanized poles. Fagan says that the government intends for this project to improve the quality of sports on the island and help reduce the threat of chronic non-communicable diseases.
Okay. Government recognizes that in order to fully develop sports, there must be investment in sports. And one of the ways we are seeking to invest in sports is by upgrading of playing fields in every community around the island. It is our hope that this project will enhance the caliber of our athletes, since it will provide them with extended playing hours and greater opportunities for training. Additionally, we are all aware of the high instances and high cost of chronic non-communicable diseases, or CNCDs, to families and the state. The government views the lighting of playing fields as an excellent opportunity for citizens to engage in physical activities at these facilities after working hours. The aim is to encourage citizens to develop healthier lifestyles and also reduce the cost of treating CNCDs.
The Minister for Education and Human Resource Development, Peter Seja, says the development of sporting facilities and sports by extension plays a big role in developing a conducive environment for excellence.
I believe that sports is integral to the development of people, and this has for a very long time been one of the things that has been recognized by this administration, that if we are to make strides as a people, that we must focus on the development of our human resource. Now, of course, we are always of the view that for individuals to do well, that they must have a conducive environment. And sports lends itself to the creation of that environment that causes our people to excel.
He notes that the fulfillment of this promise for lighting of playing fields, especially on the heels of Tropical Storm Erica, shows the dedication of the government of Dominica.
Just 6 months ago, we were visited by one of the most devastating tropical storms in the history of the Caribbean, Tropical Storm Erica. And given the vast resources that this government must now find to address the challenges created by Tropical Storm Erica, a decision could have easily been made to set back what we are doing here today, investing in the lighting of these playing facilities in the country areas. But of course, we all recognize that when we make a promise as government, that the Labour Party always keeps to our promise. So a promise made is always a promise delivered. And here we are, 6 months after the passage of Tropical Storm Erica, delivering on the promise that we made to the people of Dominica.
In his address, the Deputy Chairman of the Dominica National Lotteries Commission, Franklin Fabian, spoke of the Commission's hope for these projects.
It is our hope that having made such a significant contribution to this project, we can continue to produce athletes at a higher rank. It is also our hope that the communities will take ownership of those facilities, and in so doing have well-organized structures to help with management of those facilities.
The project is expected to be completed within the next 4 months. GIS News will bring you more from that event in a subsequent newscast. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Harold Gist, wants the new agriculture policy to include measures to improve trade across the region and internationally. Gist made the call as he addressed a public sector stakeholder dialogue on a draft agriculture policy and action plan.
It is incumbent upon us to be able to set the necessary framework, the policy framework by which we do trade in the region and internationally. It is my firm belief that we need to apply international standards for all major crops, export crops in Dominica. Therefore, we need to upgrade our processes. We have to have a value chain approach. This requires us to, in order to upgrade, we have to upscale. That is to say, we need to, we have the fragmented nature of our agriculture poses challenges. And therefore, the policy probably should address some minimum size farms or groups of farmers come together to be able to work, to be able to supply a particular market. We have some of these challenges. So the policy, I am hoping, cannot cover everything, but it will set a framework whereby we can work.
Gist mentioned some of his other expectations of the new policy.
Storms, drought, flooding can create some severe upset in the agricultural sector. And then therefore, in our planning, we need to be able to build resilience so that these types of events does not leave the agricultural sector flat on its face and immobilized because we did not have a plan D. So I would like to see this addressed as well. And I would like to encourage our farmers to take advantage of every training opportunity that is provided. Our staff as well. We need to continue continuous education.
The Youth Development Division invites applications from suitably qualified persons to fill the following positions: computer skills instructor for Portsmouth, computer maintenance instructor for Portsmouth, computer maintenance instructor for St. Joseph, landscaping instructor for Dubla, and boat making instructor for Castle Bruce. Successful applicants will be contracted for no less than 3 months in the first instance and will be required to begin employment in April 2016. Applicants should be knowledgeable in the skill area and possess a certificate and/or at least 3 years of experience. Interested persons should apply to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Constituency Empowerment. Deadline for receipt of application is Friday, March 11th, 2016. Persons with companies incorporated under Companies Act 21 of 1994 and business names registered under the Registration of Business Names Act, Chapter 7846, are hereby informed of the requirements under the Act to file annual returns and to pay annual fees before the 2nd of April each year. Companies are also required to file financial statement of certificate of solvency. If you have not done so, please visit the Companies and Intellectual Property Office at 12 Turkey Lane, Roseau, to have your company of business name brought to good standing. Failure to comply may result in steps being taken to have the company struck off the Register of Companies. Please be guided accordingly. The local area management authority of the Soufriere-Scotshead Marine Reserve, together with Soufriere-Scotshead Village Council and the Improvement Committee, have planned a major cleanup campaign in the twin communities of Soufriere and Scotshead for Sunday, March 13, 2016, commencing at 9 a.m. The goal of the campaign is to relieve pressures of benthic communities within the Soufriere and Scotshead Marine Reserve, improve the overall aesthetics of the community, enhance tourism potential of the Soufriere-Scotshead Marine Reserve, minimize the risk of occurrence of mosquito-related diseases, particularly Zika. The public is invited to turn out in large numbers in support of this effort. In the meantime, if anyone requires additional information, please do not hesitate to contact either Dr. Camille David and/or Heston Charles at telephone number 617-7084 or 616-4229 respectively. Coming up next, your tip of the day. We all know we should accept people as they are, but is there a good reason to do so? Research shows that you experience greater personal growth when you do. When you accept others, your focus changes from them to you, which allows you to work on fostering your unique skills and talents as well as improving your shortcomings. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow us on Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I'm Kimani. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.